Good morning. It's Trish with Hip Homeschool Moms. I'm here with Lisa Pennington from the Pennington Point
Hi.
and Heidi. How do you say your last name? Saravola?
Yeah, that
Huh?
works.
Is that close? Say it. Really. Say it right.
No, that's the way that we say it, but we have this big disagreement in our house because it's obviously my husband's last name and he's Italian, and that is not the Italian way to say it. That is so like Americanized Italian last name. It's not even funny. So Saravola, Ciravola,
Wow.
So that's funny
Okay.
because Sarah is the way we usually pronounce it, and most people think my first name is Sarah and my last name is Vola. So,
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Too funny. Okay, her name is Heidi, and the
that's
last
right.
name is Saravola. How's that? Is that better? Is
Yeah,
that more
good.
Italian?
It works
Okay.
for me.
From starts at 8. So anyway, good morning, y'all. We are glad you're here. We're glad to be here. Darn, it's been a week, hasn't it, already? And it's only, what, Tuesday? Mm, okay, y'all. Y'all, prayers over here. I need prayers. It's a rough week this week. So, okay, so Lisa was gone last week. She was at the One Year Adventure novel event. So tell us about it. We've been dying to hear about it.
Oh, well, the One Year Adventure novel is a curriculum that my kids use where you write a novel in a year or over the school year. And so we fell in love with that, and then we decided this is our third year to go to their writer's workshop. And
Mm,
it is so neat, y'all. Like, it's just the parents, most of the kids we've interacted with, their parents are there, and so it's not kind of a, I mean, I guess you could drop and leave, but for most of us, we don't drop and leave. We're there with our kids, and my kids love it so much. Even those that don't really, really want to be writers, they get inspired, and the Spirit of the Lord shows up there. I can't say enough about that. The people that run it, they love these kids, and I mean, we just really, really like this. So, like I said, I mean, it's a 15-hour drive, and we've done it 3 years in a row, if that tells you
Wow.
anything. And so, yeah, it's a really good workshop.
So it's
And they
only
learn a ton about writing, by the way, but seeing their friends is really, what they look forward to.
So it's only in, where was it? Oklahoma? Is that
In
right?
Kansas City,
Kansas. Okay. So and it's only there, and it's only once a year.
it's once a year. This last week, kind of in June, and then they have an advanced, like a upper level 18 and up one in January,
Okay.
which we
Okay.
haven't been to that one.
And
So,
and that one's also in Kansas. The second one.
yes, it's all in the same place.
Okay.
And there are like publishers and other authors and agents and all kinds of stuff there. Like, it's really encouraging for these kids
Oh,
that
fun.
want to pursue their passion. And like when my one daughter said, she doesn't really want to be a writer, but she leaves there so on fire to pursue her passion in the right way. It's really a neat workshop. If y'all are interested, you can message me and I'll tell you more about it.
That sounds fantastic. I'm curious.
Yeah, it
We
is.
were really curious. I didn't know what it was. I didn't even know. When you told me it was One Year Adventure novel, I'm like, what in the world did they do? I didn't even know they had anything like that. So I was
I
really
know.
curious.
It's really
Cool.
cool. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so so kids are there from what age approximately?
Well, I think the kids that are enrolled are in the high school range,
Okay.
but siblings go, and older
Okay.
siblings go, and younger siblings go. So it's a wide range of ages, but it's mostly the
Okay.
14 to 18 range.
Okay. Very good.
That's the
How
ones
Okay.
I
I was,
took.
how long was what was it, Lisa? How
It's
many days?
Monday night through Saturday morning. It's a whole
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
and so they're being taught how to
They go to
write.
sessions, and then the middle of every day they have a critique group, and they're assigned to a critique group of about 8 kids, and they bring some of their work. It's very organized what they have to bring. When you sign up, you can see what to do, but then they read it out loud to each other, and it's like a 2.5 hour to 3 hour long session where
Oh,
they critique each
wow.
other's work, and there's not a parent in that group. There's an adult age kid leader, but my kids love the critique groups. Love them. They get a
Wow.
lot out of that. Yeah.
That's fun. Okay, I'm writing it down because somebody's
All
going to
right.
ask about this. I'm writing it
Okay.
down. Okay.
Write it
You heard it
down.
first here. I never heard about it, so you heard it first here. Thanks, Lisa. I was
Thanks for
curious.
asking.
I know, I'm nosy. You know me.
I love that about you.
Oh, good. I'm glad. That's one of my best traits then, right?
Okay, we'll
I'm
go with that.
nosy. I used to be a recruiter for a really long time for that very reason, you know?
You're good at it.
Yeah, but
Mm.
nosy could be just interested.
I
You know,
am. I'm
you could be
curious. I'm like
interested.
a cat. I'm curious about everything. So, yeah, that
Okay.
fits better. Thank you, Heidi. I appreciate that. That sounded so much better.
Yes, I'm putting it for once I'm putting the positive spin on something. Normally I'm ever the pessimist, but
I did.
for you I'm the optimist.
Thank you.
Oh,
Heidi's
you
got
brings
my
out the
back. I
best.
appreciate
That's
that,
right.
Heidi. Oh, you're a mess. Okay, we're going to jump in now. Now that I've gotten my curiosity satisfied, hopefully everybody else got something out of that. Okay, so here we are. Stephanie, a lot of first time, I think, we're dealing with the summer and everybody's coming out now and getting ready to start homeschooling. So we're getting a lot of first time homeschooling questions. So just heads
All
up,
right.
y'all.
Been a long
Um,
time over here.
no, but you know what? Some of these are there. I think those of us that have the luxury of hindsight, I think can actually help them more than somebody that is just walking
Hmm.
out. So I think our luxury of hindsight is going to be good for them. It says, Stephanie, who is a first-time homeschooler, what are some strategies that you have used to make the first week or the first month exciting and fun? So every but one of us have had children that sort of rolled in to, folded in to the homeschool. I know they are constantly teaching, but how did you start? When you're transitioning, especially when you come out of public school, how did you transition? What did you do? Was there anything different? Did y'all start a tradition? Do y'all have something you do at the beginning of every year?
We don't have a tradition that we do at the beginning of every year, but I know that when I pulled my daughter out of public school after first grade, and started, that was so she finished the year in June, and so we started up in September, and I actually have pictures of it somewhere on my blog, but we actually made a pencil cake. It looked like a pencil, so like we made this cake and made it in the shape of a pencil and decorated it and had like this whole kind of, oh, we're homeschooling, it's the first day of homeschool, we're going to celebrate kind of thing that we did, and we made this pencil cake. So that was how we started off our very first year of homeschooling. We kind of did like a little kind of roll in with a, yay, we're homeschooling. This is going to be so awesome. Look at all the fun things we can do. Let's make a cake. So
I've heard of that's fun. I've heard of other people doing things like even going out the back door and coming in the front door, getting all dressed up for school,
Wow,
the
that's
first day of
cute.
school, and taking their backpack, because, that's a big part of what you used to do, especially if you went to a, public school or traditional school. That was part of the ritual, was going and purchasing all your supplies. And so they had their backpack and all their supplies, and they go out the front door, out the back door, and come back in the front door. I know one of our teammates has a business, Green Jeans Photography, and so she does pictures, annual school pictures the first day of school, because everybody's posting on Facebook and all their social media all the first day of school pictures.
I
So
was
that
going
might
to
be
say
something.
that. That's one of those things
Yeah.
that's fun to do. There's a lot of people I see that do kids holding a sign or something that looks like a chalkboard or a frame or that has maybe their grade, or I know some people do kind of like their grade level and some things that they're interested in at that time, and that's part of the picture. And so
Hmm.
yeah, they take fresh new, like, look, we're starting our school year photos, because you all know the first day of public school on Facebook, it's just a whole stream of school photos. So it's kind of
Maybe
fun to take your own.
we need to do that. Maybe we need to start a tradition of when you start school, take your first day picture and get people encouraged so that they can, sort of use that as their ammunition. When everybody else starts throwing all these pictures out there, they can throw their own pictures out there. They won't feel so odd. So, did you do anything, Lisa? Do y'all have
The
a tradition or anything?
only thing I do is I have sort of a fascination compulsion with like new pencils and new school supplies, and like I just love all that stuff. And so whenever in August, whenever all that stuff comes out, I go and buy whole sets of things, like get everybody a new pencil box and new pen, a new pencil and eraser. Like everybody gets their own new set of stuff. And then on the first day of school, although we don't really take a break, but we do kind of start the new curriculum and start some new things. It's kind of the same time other people are starting school, and I'll set in their place like they get all fresh new stuff, and we kind of dump
Yeah.
the old things. And so that would be kind of the only tradition, and it's really just more of a shopping addiction than anything else. But my kids do look forward to the fresh, and like, they lose their pens and things, and I'll be like, well, you're gonna have to wait until. So
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's also practical because, we use a lot of those school supplies at home, and that's the time
absolutely,
when they're least expensive. You can get
exactly.
crayons and markers and pencils, and you're getting all those really good new school deals. I mean, I buy notebooks. We use a lot of spiral notebooks for stuff, and you can buy them
Like
at
a
the dollar.
dime.
You can buy them at the dollar store
Right.
year round, but you get them for a dime when they're having the back to school sale. So I'll
Mhm.
buy a huge stack of spiral notebooks at 10 cents a piece. That's 10 of them that I got for a dollar instead of one. And so it's fun because I do have an obsession with those kinds of things too, and I think the kids like it. And it is also just practical. Those things, and we buy a lot of tape, a lot of glue sticks, all that stuff. You can catch a really good sale right before public
Mm-hmm.
school is starting up. So yeah, August is a great time to get that stuff at a lower cost than just buying it any time during the year.
Mm-hmm. If anybody has any other ideas on what they do, when if they have any other traditions, let us know, because I think that's a great question. We need to ask it in the community. See if anybody has any other ones that we're not thinking about, because I can't remember any other ones. But I think it's the pictures and the going out the back door. I thought that was really fun.
So
Um,
one of the things that we do a lot at the beginning of the year, and then it just sort of falls off, but I was thinking we say the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't know if you guys do they even do it anymore? Like, I'm totally removed. But when I was a kid in the 1800s, we had to stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance every morning to the flag in the corner of our classroom. And so my husband and I sort of incorporated that, and we like to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And so when it's sort of an official school day, we'll all stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
there
It's
you
another
go.
thing.
There's another tradition.
Do
There
they
you
do
go.
that
She does.
anymore?
They do. As a matter of fact, a lot of moms have asked about that. That's the other question is, besides starting, how do you start your month or, the school year? Last year, I think we answered that last week, Heidi, didn't we?
Yeah,
Somebody asked, how do you,
we did.
yeah. So you can
Oh,
answer it
really?
this week. How do you start your day? And that was that was one of the suggestions, was Pledge of Allegiance. So, yeah.
Oh, well, we're all on
Yeah,
the same
see?
page.
See, Lisa didn't get to be here, but she gets
I
to answer
did.
all the questions too.
No, but for us, as my kids have gotten older, they all start their day at different times, which, like I said
That's
last
the
week, I
hard
don't,
part.
with little kids, we did a circle time, or we do a calendar, or, that kind of thing. But, when we talked about those things last week, but for us, our kids are all kind of marching to the beat of their own drum. My teenager's up earlier and at her space doing her thing. And, my other two, I try and keep in their rooms until at least 8 o'clock, thus the starts at 8. We talked about that last week too. And, but then they roll out and they're doing their thing. One wants to eat breakfast first. One wants to get started on schoolwork first. And so as my kids have gotten older, we have less of a formal start and more of a roll with what makes each individual, what their rhythm is and what's working for them, kind of thing. So, but yeah, when my kids were younger, it was circle time or the calendar or the pledge or some sort of, there's a lot of people that do, get up and have breakfast and do, Bible study, a brief
Hmm.
Bible reading or study in the morning together, to start their day.
I agree.
We just kind of stagger our start, so we don't really have anything formal.
And we're the same way. And I know Lisa's not. At least they have a very formal
No.
time.
Yeah.
No. This is
That
when
would
it
not
starts.
work at my house.
That was one of the things we talked about last week. I don't remember what the question was, but I was like, now, if Lisa was here,
Hmm.
That's what's
I
so
did.
great.
I
I mean, it's a
answered for
beautiful
you.
idea, and it works for Heidi's family. I love it.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's just what works for you. That's kind of our message.
And for us, it's the same way, especially during the summer. Summer is so hard for us because we do homeschool all year round, and we do the same exact thing. We are on a very different schedule, doing different things, and so we stagger in, stagger out. So I know exactly, Heidi. I don't know how you do that all year though. Honestly, it's hard. That's hard because it seems like I don't get the motivation from them that I do when we all start at a formal time. It's
Hmm.
hard. So you
I, I'm,
you must
I
have your
don't. I would miss plugging in at that
yeah.
regular time every morning.
Yeah,
So
like I said, for me, like my son, he likes to get up early, and well, I had that whole starts at 8 thing, and but there's a long period of time where he was getting up earlier. He would get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock, and he would get up and want to do his schoolwork. And what I found was that he was much more productive in that hour of time before the rest of us were up and making disruptions and distractions, here. And so I allowed him that freedom as long as he was doing his schoolwork and being productive and not getting up and playing video games or whatever. Because I don't roll out of my room until 8:30. I mean, the kids will climb into bed with me. They did this morning. But I don't function well early in the morning. But he was, and I found that it was a lot easier on me and a lot less stress allowing
yeah.
him that time, because he was so much more, he himself was just more productive and more focused during that time and got more done. I mean, what would take him 3-4 hours, a couple hours later in the day, took him an hour in the morning when it was just him and there was no distractions. And so this kind of just also
How
stems from that.
fantastic. He knows he's a morning bird, the ones that the early bird that likes to get up early and get that worm. That's fantastic because and my kids have gone through different stages, interestingly enough. Some have been early birds and they're not early birds, and so I think it's just, a stage. That's great.
Well, and I have
Um,
that too. And I have some kids that'll get up early and do work, but then still at 9 o'clock we meet together and we
oh yeah.
finish the day.
That's
So
right.
they
She
can. That
has that.
doesn't mean you can't. It doesn't mean you can't still have, And then we might find out they're done and make a plan for the rest of their day. But that's
Isn't
just
that
what we do.
wonderful? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. And I forgot about that. You have that round time. I mean, almost like circle time, but it's not. It's board
Every
time.
day.
She has that board in front of everybody. So we
Family
talked about your.
meeting.
We
Yeah.
had your board talk last week.
My whiteboard.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love the idea of family meetings. We've just never
I do
seemed to be
too.
able to, incorporate it in. I was reading a book recently. I don't remember what it was. I want to say it was The Secret to Happy Families, or anyways, I was reading a book and they were talking about how the people put this large importance on eating family dinner together, and stating that it wasn't really about the family dinner. It was about that connectedness time and that time where you're
Mm.
talking and interacting, and that you don't have to do it at dinner time. Like you don't,
Right.
there's a lot of families, like, I said, my daughter's at the gym through dinner time. We're running out of the house to get to sporting activities. So I love Lisa's, they sit at the table together at 9. That's still that connected time, that, like she said, that plugging in where they're all together, and that's really important. And I really liked the concept in the book that I was reading, and it was like, you don't have to be stuck
Mm.
on dinner time. Like, you don't have to have the family
Right.
dinner to get the benefits from what people, what families get from the family dinner. And to me, I wanted to write a blog post about it, and of course I still haven't gotten around to it, but it was one of those things that I just haven't, but it was one of those things that really struck me. I was like, oh yeah, because I was starting to feel guilty with getting busier, and like I said, our daughter only sits at the dinner table with us twice a week, and we're running out the door and we're rushed, and oftentimes, like, please stop talking and just eat your food, and so that's not, that's not family connectedness. That's not, that's
Right.
not plugging in. That's like, let's just eat out of necessity because we have to get going. And so I had been feeling guilty about it. And then to open up that whole thing, well, wait a minute, it doesn't have to be dinner time. It's about that plug-in time, about
Right.
that connected time. And so, I like that Lisa's she's like she said, I didn't even think about, you can have people up ahead of time, but still have that same kind of meeting time where you guys all get together at 9 o'clock. And here we are, FaceTime as a family. And I think that's a really good idea. I might have to try that.
Well, and then your older kids know what your younger kids are doing. Everybody knows what everybody's doing, what everybody's supposed to be doing, what everybody's goals are for the day, if they can help each other. Or somebody says, I have to be at the gym tonight, and so can you do the dishes for me? Like, it's just a great time to not just start school, but we call it the start of school, but it's really when we start our day
The
together.
day. Yeah,
Right.
the day.
And
Mm.
if you haven't had breakfast by then, like normally we have breakfast all at 8 o'clock, but if for some reason someone wasn't there, couldn't be there, you don't eat. I just want to throw that
Mm.
out there. That's the end of that opportunity.
Oh, okay. We're going to move on to Amy. Amy is new to homeschooling. She asked, how do you deal with being so different, Lisa, and being unable to relate to those in your life that have vastly different experiences now?
Oh.
And so, this is something that we're hearing. I mean, that was one of the reasons we started the group, was all these moms feel so segregated and alone and left out and out of the mainstream now. And so I think we need to help them walk through this out, because you hear it more from the moms that are just coming out. So how do we help them? Suggestions, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have opposition, Heidi, or did you have those struggles?
Yeah, not, like I said, we started in the public school realm, and all of our kids are in community, type sports, travel sports. So we have a lot of connectedness that way. But as far as our homeschooling community, I think it was more difficult because even within the homeschoolers in our area, we didn't feel like we fit in sort of the categories that they fell into. But we really just put ourselves out there and joined some of the homeschool groups and attended some of the field trips or functions. And in doing so, found a couple of families that were like-minded and that we really connected with. And so, while we still do some larger homeschool activities, we also have those closer families, adults, children that are homeschooled that we really connected with. And so we have those as well. I mean, our daughters are in book clubs that we've started through homeschool groups. And so with our little ones, it's all mother-daughter. So, the moms get a chance to get together, the girls get a chance to get together, you get that connected time. So, where I didn't think I fit in so well, maybe in some of these homeschool groups, I would go to the larger activities that they had where there was a larger base of, like they'd have a summer picnic or a winter sledding party or whatever it was, and we would go to those, and then you kind of find people then that not only is that large homeschooling group there, but you find people that you really connect with. And I think that then that helps. You don't have to have 100 people, but if you have a small group of people that you feel connected to and that you can do activities with and things, I think that makes a big difference.
How about you, Luce?
Yeah, that's fascinating, Heidi. I love that. And what's interesting is I heard that question completely differently, and it must be because we've had different challenges in our lives. So I love how you answered it like that. So I heard opposition from neighbors and family, and like to actually make these lifestyle choices. I guess that's because that's been what we had to deal with. And so I'll just answer it differently.
Yeah.
And mine would be that there have always been opposition to, first you announce you're going to home birth, and then you announce you're going to homeschool, and then you announce you're going to courtship. I mean, like, it just never ends, or your girls aren't going to college or whatever. There's always these choices that there's a lot of family opposition to, and, kind of people your husband works with that don't get it and all that stuff. And I would say for us, we just are very grounded in how we've made those decisions, which is based on Scripture and what we believe we're called to do as our family. And we build our confidence in that, in our relationship with the Lord. And we don't look to getting approval from outside sources for our confidence in that. And anytime we feel it waning, we go straight back to the source instead of trying to convince people why it's a good thing to do. I don't have any interest in convincing you or my neighbor or my sister-in-law that it's a good idea. I just need to know that I'm doing the right thing for my family, and I have confidence in that. And I spend pretty much, I saw a thing on Pinterest the other day that said, teach yourself to not feel like you have to explain why you're doing something. And that's been sort of my mentality. I don't feel any need to justify those things because I believe it's right. Although I'm teachable, I'm very confident in those decisions. And I would say if you're not, then find people that you can ground yourself with that can help you look to the Lord. They point you back to Him all the time, and not to whatever other people think.
I think it's really important. I think there's a mourning stage that we all go through when and it happens at different stages of our lives. When we got married, all of our single friends, they just sort of fell to the side. Y'all know this. We didn't continue to
Mhm.
go out and party with our girlfriends. We stayed
Mhm.
focused on our home life. And same for college. When you were going off to college, those that weren't in college, it wasn't that you left them behind. It was just that you had different lifestyles. You had different things going on, and so your ability to relate to those women changed. And so I think that's something that homeschool moms have to realize, that they are going through a stage and a phase of their life where they're going to have to accept either being different amongst their friends and continuing, obviously you can't pick your family, so you're not getting rid of them, but you do, with your friends, you might consider adding in more people that are like you, that have those same values or have those same agendas and have those same desires for your family. Because I think if you surround yourself with people that are very different from you, you're always going to feel extremely different. But if you surround yourself with people that have similar values and similar desires and similar focus, I think it helps. So, and I think that's a stage you walk through, and I think all of us, hate when it changes, because we're losing friends that don't understand, or we're, having to, like Lisa, dealing with opposition. But I try real hard not to make it a point of opposition. I try real hard to not go there. If they want to go there, I try, to try to change the subject. And I like to use humor. I'll cut up with them and make some flippant remark that will try to diffuse the situation and then move on. But yeah, it's a hard transition. This is one of the hardest, I think. When we started mentoring moms and the community, one of the reasons we did it was, there's this big socialization word out there for kids, and I really think that moms need socialization more than the kids. So really, that's what it's for, is for the moms to socialize, and I think that's going to help. I think communities like that, it doesn't have to be our community, but communities like that, whether they're physical, around you, or virtual, I think they can help. So I hope that helps, Amy. I know a lot of moms are walking this out. You're not alone. This is something that so many moms are walking out right now. Okay, this is a question. If y'all haven't met Dorinda Wilson is our newest addition to Hip Homeschool Moms, and she wrote an article last week. It came out on Saturday, called "A Call to Simplicity," and in it, she had a quote that I absolutely loved. It's not really even a quote, but it says, "The days are long, but the years are short." Isn't that great, y'all?
Mhm.
So what was some of the best advice? It reminded me, a lot of people have been asking this. What was some of the best advice you got when you started homeschooling? And what do you want to remind these moms to never forget? As they're walking this out, and it's so crazy and it's so busy and you're so overwhelmed, and y'all have been there picking curriculum and trying to help your children figure out their learning style and all those wonderful things that they're trying to do right now. What do they need to remember? What can they help them stay grounded? Heidi?
Oh, figures. You put me on the spot.
Okay, Lisa?
I have lots of things. I was like trying to formulate it into some sort of nice, neat, quotable package, which isn't coming to me right now. I'm still struggling with that day-to-day drudgery some days, so I can't say that I've surpassed it. It's still something that I work with, but I guess for me, I keep trying to refocus myself on my children, on my relationships with my children, on sort of the bigger picture. Where, like I said, we do a lot of competitive sports, and one of the things that my husband and I have always said, we're not raising World Cup soccer players, we're not raising competitive gymnasts, we're raising well-rounded human beings. And so I guess for me, when the days are long and the years are flying by, I try to let the rest of the stuff go and know that a lot of it is so not important in the grand scheme of things. A lot of that day to day, I mean, which curriculum in the end is it really going to matter? Probably not. You find a way through it. Just those, they seem really big, and I, don't get me wrong, I stress and agonize over every detail of it. I do, but when it really comes down to it, and I really, like I'm really in the nitty gritty of it, so much of it, I remind myself just doesn't matter. Be a yes mom. I have been really learning to be a yes mom, and because I could be attached to this computer day in and day out, and what good is it doing me, in the end? And so I'm trying to walk away from this stuff, not completely, I'm still here, but to be a yes mom and to make those times and those moments and that focus about the kids. That's why I had them. That's why they're here with me, because I wanted them, because I wanted to spend time with them, because they're my responsibility now. So for me, and I guess my quotable is, how much of it really matters in the end. Focus on what matters.
That's a great point. I love that. Lisa?
Great. I don't remember in the early days, I didn't have a lot of other homeschoolers around me. It's early 90s. So I don't remember getting any specific advice, but I know one of the things that I try to stress more than anything from my perspective is that it's more about their character than it is about their education. In our home, they're getting the education, but if they're not doing their math, it's frustrating, but not because they need to get the math done by a certain time or this, but more because what's happening with their heart, what's happening with their character, what do they need to learn to be persistent and do things that they don't like and focus when they have trouble, and those kind of things. It's all character issues to me and not necessarily education. So that's what I would say focus on more than education, and the education will happen.
Yeah, yeah. And I agree. I agree. For me, my relationships with my kids have grown. I didn't even realize how close I was to losing them until I brought them back
Mm.
home and we started homeschooling. And I don't mean losing them as in, you know, you know what I mean, but losing them
Yeah.
as in their mind, their hearts, their souls, their focus was more on worldly things, and the children around them, the peer pressure, was on things that I didn't even know. And so when they came home and I started figuring that out, and that those relationships started blossoming, and there's nothing like it. And that's the one thing, for those of us that homeschool, we know the difference that our relationships are with our children. But I can tell you, having been on both sides, I had no idea what I was missing. None.
Oh,
None. And so, I just thought it was normal to send your kids off to school and you to go be that that work mom that dropped your kids off. You come home, you're racing to get them washed, to get them fed, to get them in bed, to do it all over again tomorrow, and having no time with them. And so, I actually feel sorry for moms that don't know, because they don't. It's not even a battle. When working moms or somebody that doesn't homeschool, and I've gone through that whole stage of going through all those drastic changes from being a corporate mom. I didn't even drop off my kids. The nanny dropped off my kids. So I know I
wow.
walked that path. Um, and now I'm the exact opposite. And so, but they don't know. They just don't know. So I won't go there with most of my friends from the corporate world, because they don't know, and I don't want to my goal isn't to make them feel bad. I actually feel sorry for them. They'll never know. They'll never know what they missed. So when folks try to argue with me, I try to remember there's nothing I can say or do to help them understand what they're missing. You have to walk it out. You
Yeah.
have to experience it. So for me, I would say the best advice I got early on was probably, I don't even remember if there was advice, but most of the advice I asked for was about curriculum. And that was all good advice, but the best advice I can give is like what y'all said, stay focused on the relationships, because that's really where and bringing them to your value system and your faith, helping them walk out their faith and learn who they are. Whew, that's a big question. That one could get, I mean, honestly, that
Deep.
one, we all could probably spend 30 minutes each on that one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a blog post. We all need to write a blog post on that. Heidi, I already know the ones for yours is Yes, Mom. No, there's your title. I wrote it down. Yes, Mom. You're going to have to explain that one more. Okay. One of the questions that we had was, I did that one, so I'm going to skip it. Do you take homeschool on vacation with you? I know Heidi just came back from vacation. Did you take it with you?
No, I just was like, we go to Florida every year with my parents, and I used to truly like take homeschool with me. Take the books. One year I brought this big like multiple poster board thing, and we did this whole thing on the ocean and sea life and got all kinds of crazy nuts about the whole thing, which is kind of my MO. But
I love you, Heidi.
We all do it. What are you talking about?
Not me.
So I do not take any formal anything with us anymore. We read because we like to read, so there's always books in the car with us. The kids, there was this trip to Florida, we just went, and I think that also, but you can sort of plan and have vacations that are educational without seeming educational, without what you think of as, bring your books, bring your work, bring your, there's so many vacations that can be educational without being kind of, like I said, school classroom educational. There's so much to be learned just in doing and seeing, and we've taken our kids when we were on vacation to the Kennedy Space Center, or wherever we happen to to be, and kind of see some sights or do something. We were joking as we were going through Hershey's Chocolate World that we were homeschooling because our kids were learning about the chocolate making process.
And you know what? They probably remember that just as much as they did the poster board with all the fancy, flashcards or whatever you brought. They probably enjoyed it as much and remembered as much, right?
Oh yeah. So do I take formal like workbook to curriculum? Because I am a curriculum girl. We all know that. We all we've established that. So no, we truly now I schedule out our year, and I schedule the breaks. We take a week off at Thanksgiving, even if we're not going anywhere. It was either 2 or 3 weeks off at Christmas. We took 3 weeks off. We were gone for almost 3 weeks in Florida in April, so we took an entire 3 weeks off. And so we just, if we're going on vacation, we're going on vacation now.
I think breaks are good. I think, really, especially if you homeschool all year round, the way most of us do, breaks are good. I'm there now. I need a break. How about you, Lise? You take it with you on vacation?
No.
You can go to vacation there. She just went to Kansas.
You know what a vacation is, girls. It's a great big giant unit study.
There you go. I believe her.
No, it's true. So basically, I think any trip is enhanced by learning about the area. And so what I will do is kind of map out if we're going to drive to Florida, I'll look along the way, and maybe I'll print out information about a little town or a little something, and as we're driving through there, I'll pull it out and be like, hey, did you guys know that the biggest ball of string was here, and it was made by blah, blah, blah. So I try to, toss out little tidbits along the way, and then for the little kids, I give them a notebook and a brown paper bag or some kind of Ziploc bag or something, and they're supposed to gather things. It can literally be a leaf or whatever. Everywhere we stop, they have to gather something from that area, and so we have little gather bags, and they're just draw pictures.
That's sort of fun.
And
what
write
do you do
things
with
down.
that?
We throw it away when we get home.
I knew you were going to say that.
I'm not a keeper. Y'all remember that too? I don't keep things. That's not the point. The point is to stay alert.
What is the point then?
for them to
Okay,
stay
okay.
alert and pay attention to their surroundings when we go places.
Okay,
So,
Okay.
Lisa, you made me think of something because you said that
oh, good.
you will look something up. So that's why I'm looking down because I'm looking at my phone. And my husband and I think it was last year. For those of you that have smartphones or whatever and have an app, they have an app from the History Channel called History Here. And so
Cool.
wherever you are, you can open up the app and it will give you a list of like all the history, based things right where you are. So you can be
Brilliant.
anywhere.
How cool is that?
I'm writing
Yes.
that down.
Yeah, it's from the History Channel, and it's called History Here. It's explore the history around you, and it's an app. I have it on my iPhone, and it literally, here, let me see if I can you see? This is my area, and all those,
That's so cool.
all the things in our area that that they've noted. So then you can tap on each one, and it gives you information, and really cool app. So when you said that sometimes you look stuff up, it made me think of it because we've literally been on the road and just open up the History Here app and been like, let's see what's
beautiful.
interesting around here. So there you go. Learning on the go.
There's
I love
another
that.
one. There's another one called Road Trippers, and Road Trippers is one that it gives you a bunch of stuff in the area. Like if you're into photography, it's going to give you those deserted buildings.
Awesome. That is cool.
It's
so
called Road
now,
Trippers.
again, because I started this before apps were created, I would look them up in the encyclopedia. But now that they have apps, obviously my work is easier. But that's
a great one.
I do make it informative, but not necessarily. We don't take any school with us. But I wanted to be paying attention and fall in love with the area. So, we do try to. But I love these apps, y'all. I'm so excited. Totally downloading them.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, for us, it depends on the vacation for me. If we're going somewhere that makes sense to do a unit study, because it's number one, if it's new or if it's one we haven't done a unit study on. We took the Swimming Creatures Apologia book with us when my dad we spent a month in North Carolina on the beach when my dad had cancer and with him, and so that's all we did. We only took we didn't do literature, we didn't do anything. Well, we had books like y'all. I mean, we take books.
Right.
Books go everywhere.
Oh yeah.
But we didn't take math, we didn't take anything else. We just took the Swimming Creatures book from Apologia, and we only did the saltwater pieces of the Swimming Creatures book.
Cool.
And that's all we did. And we spent time at the going to the different things around there. We talked about the marshes, we went to the aquariums, but we didn't the whole experience wasn't about education, but we were learning, like you said, all along the way. But the book was with us. We pulled it out. We even took it sailing. We went to a a deserted island and collected shells for an afternoon, and we even took the book with us so we could determine what kind of shells they were. So Apologia went really on vacation with us. So we do, but maybe not quite the way others do it. And I love the idea of the apps and being in a place. We have a philosophy of the minute you leave the driveway, you're on vacation. It starts the moment you leave. So our vacation, everything on it was part of the vacation. We went every town we stopped at. We tried to find something there to do that was part, so that the destination isn't always the focus. It's the whole process of getting there and getting home. And so I think a lot of people, are so focused on the destination, they miss, enjoying the process of getting there. And I think for homeschoolers, we get that. We get that, sometimes when we get to the end, the process was more important than the destination. You were sort of talking about that earlier, Lisa. But so it's interesting. A lot of families don't. A lot of families need a break. Right now, I'm at that stage. I need a break. If we were to take a vacation today, I'm telling you, nothing would go. I might take my Kindle. Other than that, that would be it. That would be it. I wouldn't even take my computer, or might not even take my phone. No, I take my phone. That's got the GPS.
Yeah, I was starting to not believe you anymore when you said you wouldn't take it.
Yeah, I have to take my GPS. So, okay. Another question that somebody has asked is social butterflies. If you have social butterflies, how do you keep them from getting lonesome? and we all have multiple
Yeah.
children, so we don't understand that. But um, I have a couple of friends that tried homeschooling. One of the owners of Hip Homeschool Moms, Leanne, is the only homeschooler. We've got several moms that write for us that are only homeschoolers. I think they would probably recommend getting heavily involved in co-ops and talking to folks around you and getting them involved in, well, like Heidi's got children that are heavily involved in sports. Lisa's got children that are heavily involved in writing and doing things like that. So they've got their, outlet, but they almost have a tribe of their own. How many kids do you have, Lisa?
9.
She's got the whole built-in community over there. They don't necessarily have to go out. We only have 3, but we still have community. I'm sure Heidi feels that way too. Although yours are really spread out.
Yeah,
Y'all
mine are all about 3.5 years apart from each other. So, but my younger two, my son and my daughter, my younger ones, they're 8 and 11, are kind of like two peas in a pod, though. They're kind of, they're oil and water, or peanut butter and jelly, depending on the second, because it changes by the second. But my little one is quite the social butterfly, and honestly, we're out. We go places, we go camping, and she's the one on the playground that picks up a friend in 5 seconds. I mean, we went to the local amusement park, and what did she do? She rode on the swings, comes off the swings hand in hand with this little girl, and is like, "We're going to go again together this time," and like, they go back in line. And so, I mean, really, it's like, so, I mean, she picks up friends anywhere, any park, any activity, doesn't matter. She's been taking a tumbling class at the gym, and where my daughter is a competitive gymnast. And, she met a friend there that we started having play dates with, the mom and daughter, and she met somebody there, and they, and so, I mean, really, it's just for having a social butterfly. Yeah, she has her siblings. She has us here. She's not an only child, but because she is a social butterfly, anywhere and everywhere we go, she picks up somebody. She's talking to somebody. Doesn't matter. It could be a child 4 or 5 years younger than her. It could be a teenager. It could be an adult. My son recently started swimming for a team on the swim team here, and my husband had taken my daughter to one of his practices, and she picked up this parent that just she started talking to, and now every time she sees her, they're chattering away at each other. So really, if you have a social butterfly, to me, just get out. Go somewhere. If your child is really that social, they will find the people, they will find the friends, and then you can slowly start building, like I said, building a relationship, like with the little girl at the gym, and we started having play dates, and so it's really just, if your child is really a social butterfly, they're going to pick up people that
It's true. My social butterflies, I don't see their need as particularly needing friends. I see their need as needing to be around people. Like, that's what fills their tank. As an introvert, I'm like, that empties my tank. But for them, it fills their tank. So really, they just can be the one I take to the grocery store with me most of the time. And they're the ones that and they go to the grocery store, and they're helping the people reach things on the shelves, and they're talking to whoever. Like, they love the energy of being around people. It doesn't really mean they need a lot of friends. So yeah, definitely I get those kids out as much as possible because they like that energy, and eventually, y'all, it's really nice because then they're old enough to go to the store without you, and you don't even have to do it. So I send my social butterflies to the grocery store for me, and but yeah, the friends question is a different thing. So
yeah, it is. It's kind of two separate things. Some kids want that connectedness and want those specific friends, and others, you're right, just feed
those
off
aren't
that
necessarily
energy.
your social butterflies.
Yeah,
good point. Good point.
So if you're social butterfly, just get them out. Heidi that's a great point. Just get them out. That's what we do. Try to give them more. Go to the one-year venture novel writers workshop.
There you go. There you go. Okay, the last one was the best piece of advice, which we've sort of already covered. So that's it. So now, y'all talk. That's all we got. We get to hang out now. Nobody's asked any more questions unless y'all have been over there looking. I'll go over there and look. Y'all talk for a second.
Oh, well,
Talk amongst yourselves.
I don't know what you
Oh,
ladies have been doing, but I know that we live in a very homeschool regulated state. We live in New York State, so I have been knee deep in getting my paperwork done and answering questions of everybody else who's trying to navigate their
oh,
paperwork. It really is not as difficult as everybody thinks it is. It sounds scarier than it is, but it's just a matter of doing it. And once so I'm now going, okay, it's time to turn my paperwork in, gather up my test scores, write dot your I's, cross your T's. So that's what we've been doing in our house. I just put up and as is true form with my blog, I always see, it seems to speak to whatever I happen to be doing. So I just put up a post about navigating, paperwork in New York State, and we're doing this link up of homeschooling state by state, which is really cool for people who are looking for state-specific homeschool resources, information, navigating the regulations. So I'm participating in this homeschooling state by state link up. That's really cool. There's a lot of people that are already posting, homeschooling in Ohio or Florida, and they've done the research for you. They've kind of laid
Awesome.
out the resource and stuff, which is really cool. And I know we have a lot of people in the HHM community always looking for state specific stuff. I believe I posted it in the community this morning. I
you
posted
did.
it
It
a
was
bunch.
great.
I posted it a bunch of places, but I think it's a really cool resource, and I know a lot of people are really looking for state-specific stuff. You're looking, it's like, well, I need to know about homeschooling in my state. What do I have to
Hmm.
do? So I thought that was a really cool resource. So that's what's up in my house. How about you, Lisa?
Well, Texas girl, so none of that,
Oh,
which
what a
is
blessing
awesome.
too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We are getting ready this weekend. We are having a graduation for our two of our girls, graduating them. So, woohoo!
Yeah, there you
Yay!
go.
Yay!
Yay.
Hey,
So how
and
many now? Four? Four have
five.
graduated?
Five. This
Five.
will be
Wow.
five. This is 4 and 5
Wow,
graduating this year. So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
we're having a ceremony, and today I don't know if you probably couldn't hear the lawnmower and weed eater were going on. We got people everywhere, and we're fixing to break down all these tables and take them out and start setting up to have barbecue, and we're having about 45 people, and we'll have a little ceremony, and they'll set out some of their work and these two girls are very artsy. One's a photographer, one makes jewelry, and so they'll set out some of their things and make little speeches, and we'll give them a little fake diploma, and it'll be
Oh,
barbecue and games. My son's making some outdoor games to play. We'll have badminton and all that. So, yeah, we're getting ready this week to graduate two more kids, and then it's like I'll only have four left. It's amazing.
wow. Only
Yeah.
four.
That's so
Yeah. Well,
awesome.
I mean, when you got nine, that's a pretty good chunk I've already
Yeah.
knocked off. So
Yeah.
We haven't
exciting.
graduated any yet. So it's interesting to hear you talk about because I know people do ask, well, what do you do for graduation? What do how do you celebrate that? Just like, people are
Yeah.
asking questions about celebrating the first day of school. How do you celebrate your homeschooler's
Right.
graduation? Because, my daughter will never truly graduate from high school. She won't get a high school diploma. They don't do that in New York State. So,
Hmm. Yeah,
she,
we don't.
and,
But
she's a
they
lot
don't
of
need
her.
it.
You're right. They don't need it. And a lot of her friends are graduating from public school. She goes to, like I said, she has a lot of public school friends. And, so that definitely has been on my mind. Like, what do you do for graduation? So that's so
Well, with
awesome
our
that you
with
brought that
our
up.
first daughter, that's been 6 years now. We had a ceremony at home, and it was we invited a lot of people, and we had games and all kinds of stuff going on. We built this whole big like village out of appliance boxes, and like we had a ton of stuff going on. And then with my next son, who's 22 now, we were president of the homeschool group at that time, and we were very active in it. And so we rented a church, and we had a whole big event, and we literally he had sung with a community choir, and a lot of those people offered to come, so we had the choir come, or he did
Wow.
like it was a big thing, and we served desserts, and we had, I mean, there were several hundred people there. But then when my last daughter, she just didn't want to do any of that. The number three, and so it was almost like she said the other day. It was like we let her elope because we just were like, okay, you're graduated, and we didn't do anything. We gave her some money because she saved us so much money on this thing. We're like, here's some money. So she was happy with that. And then these two though, they wanted a party, but they wanted it just to be family. So we kind of have done whatever they whatever was they fit their personality. This weekend, this one will be more artsy. These two girls are artsy, and they're edgy and funky, so they will have a lot of that feel. So
How
yeah,
fun.
we've done something
How
different each time, but at the core, we have some people come and speak. Like every time we've had somebody that was more of an outside mentor to them. We'll speak a little bit, and we have a couple people that will offer a blessing to them. We've asked all those people to do that, and just for a few minutes. And so then mom will talk and dad will talk and the graduates will talk, and then they'll do some music because they both do music. And so, yeah, it'll probably take about 20 minutes, and then we'll eat and play games. So,
Oh,
and we'll do fireworks. This time we're going to do fireworks because it's 4th of
4th of
July.
Fourth of
July.
July. That's
How
awesome.
fun. That does
Yeah,
sound like
it's
fun.
really
You should video
y'all
that
should
so we can
come.
participate. I know. We would. I would. If you were closer, I'd be there. You know that. That would be
I
fun.
agree.
How fun is
It'll be
that?
fun. Yeah.
We hadn't even really thought about that yet. You know, haven't gone there. I mean, I have a high schooler. You know, Chase is 14, but I hadn't even thought about that yet. So that's interesting to see how. I wonder what other folks do. I'm in Tennessee. I wonder I'm under that umbrella school. Do I get a diploma? See, you're bringing up
Yeah.
questions. You're going to make me
And
go dig.
my sister homeschooled her oldest, and she did an umbrella school, and they had a whole regular graduation. I know several groups in our area down in San Antonio. They have a graduation you can participate in where you walk across stage, you get the cap and gown, and all that stuff. That just
See?
our that wasn't our family's personality, but a lot of people do that.
Yeah, Chase isn't like that either. But we'll see what he ends up wanting to do.
Yeah.
You asked what we're doing around here. Are you familiar with those?
Yeah, aren't those like emergency cord band like
Yeah.
bracelets or whatever? Awesome.
Paratrooper bracelets.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, not paratrooper, what are they called?
Paracord. What
Paracord.
are you
There you go.
doing with them?
Yeah. Gage and Blake have started a business.
Oh.
Yep, making these. Are they cool?
What are they for?
That's-
Tell us what they're for.
Well, paracord bracelets. Gage is into Civil Air Patrol. You know, Gage and Chase are both Civil Air Patrol, and so they do a lot of rescue, survival, and rescue things. And so they actually got interested in it due to that, because they have to take paracord with them that's part of their bug out bag that they have to take with them for their rescues. And so they were thinking about different ways. You have to take 10 feet of paracord. And so,
Wow.
believe it or not, there's 10 feet of paracord in this thing. And so they were looking at different ways that they could do that, and they can't wear something like that with their uniform, but they can wear it with their BDUs, which are their casual things. So there's like camo, their camo uniform kind of look. So they can wear it for that. So anyway, that's one of their businesses. We have something that we haven't talked about here on Mentoring Moms before is in high school. I know Lisa does that. Lisa's kids all have businesses, and one of Gage has a chicken business, Deluxe Clucks, where we sell eggs, and we're going to be selling chicks and things like that. And this is another business that's starting. And photography is a business. We've sold pictures. So we really focus on trying to help our kids find their niche, find their spot, their passion, their love, whatever they're good at, their talent. And so the only way I know how to do that is to introduce them to a bunch of different things and let them try them and see if they like them. So that's the new business that's going on right now. We have a yard sale coming up on the 12th. They're going to be doing a yard sale every month in our community, and so they're going to be selling them at the yard sale. So we'll see. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
So that's what's going on over here. You have an Etsy shop, and you have things going on, and you said that your kids run that, right?
They fill the orders. I run the shop, and they fill the orders.
So what do they do? Have they started businesses?
They make things. They make things. Well, yeah. Some have. Some just jump in under mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I know you have one that writes. So that's sort of. I mean,
she writes books, and my son, he's about to come out with a single. My oldest son, he wants to make an album. Mm-hmm. So
Oh,
that's
how fun.
happening this week as well. So
Oh,
yeah, there's lots
wow.
going on around here. We're always,
Darn.
a little tugging along.
We need to just be in your neighborhood just to see what goes on over at your house because it sounds like it's
Yeah,
always got stuff happening over there.
always. If it's not somebody, making an album, then we're trying to get the pool to not be green. I mean, it's just always a project.
Yep, yep. One of our friends over from TOS popped in, Pat. Hey, Pat. She said that they joined MHEA, which is our Memphis Home Education Association,
Mhm.
and she said that they have graduation programs, so and a party.
Awesome.
So, thanks, Pat. I appreciate that. I hadn't even thought about it. I'm glad you shared that. So. Well, we are literally on the nose, out of time, and out of questions. So it worked out really well today. So thanks for joining us, guys. Don't forget to go visit Heidi over at Starts at 8, and it's Ceravola. See, I'm going to get better at it as we go.
Moi.
Ceravola. Yeah, yeah. That's right. I have to get that kiss thing going on. And Lisa Pennington from the Pennington Point. Go visit her. And I'm Trish, and I'm Hip Homeschool Moms. Or you can visit me on my personal blog, which is Live and Learn Farm. So thanks for being here, y'all, and we hope we are helping y'all walk this path and keep in touch and ask questions so we can put them out here. Y'all have a great week. Talk to you later.